Okay, I'm just going to make a couple of comments on a letter that somebody has posted. You've probably seen it. And they said that they got 280 for writing, and they felt their letter should have got more. So I'm going to refer to the case notes in this particular case. I don't usually do so because I don't want to get any copyright issues, but as you see here, disclaimer, alert, this is purely for teaching, educational reasons or purposes. So don't bother to get in touch if those case notes are yours complaining of copyright, because I'm not interested. So that being said, let's have a look. Now, I don't know what about the dear Dr. R.E. Sarah so-and-so, age 10. Now, but first thing I want to say, if it's a child, you don't usually use a title. You usually just make it the first name. Yeah, now she is 10. Okay, so, and her name needs to be capitalized. So, Sarah. So, if you've done the DOB 10 years old, okay, so that would, so we would know R.E. Sarah so-and-so, 10 years old. Okay. Now, let's have a look at the task. This is what we have to do first, go to the task. So it's a referral to a pediatric neurologist. Okay, so we want assessment. Now, you may have seen the videos by Rebecca. She's been broadcasting on Facebook today and on Monday, I think it was, where she was talking about the new criteria, in particular the new criteria of purpose. So your reason for writing needs to be clear. So here, as it says, we want you, so you're asking the neurologist, if there's some background sounds, it's because I've got my office windows open. It's quite warm here, so you may hear the odd fire engine or ambulance, etc. outside. Anyway, that being said, referral specifically to ask for assessment. Okay, so let's have a look. So Sarah, age 10. She's got allergies, dust, pollen, cats. Okay. Shortness of breath, wheezes, cough on sport. Okay. We're not too interested about that. So now these case notes are a bit confusing. Well, they're confusing me because I don't know when this consultation is taking place. So 13th of the 7th, she came in complaining about shortness of breath. Then a week later, an entirely separate issue, eye twitching, etc. But I can't see, again, I don't know if these are official notes or what, but I'm not sure. So if we, it can't be the same, well, it could be the same day as you are writing this, because at 5 a.m. and 8, so if that happens, then they bring her in to the surgery during the same day. So presumably that's when it was done. Anyway, so I'm writing out of my concern. Okay, but won't you simply, I'm writing to refer, so we don't really need that. I'm writing to refer Sarah for what? Now, later you say management plan. Now, I suppose it doesn't really say that, though, does it? It says, if we take a look at the notes once again, assessment. So presumably, management plan could be part of it once the pediatric neurologist has made an assessment, but the assessment has to come first to confirm the diagnosis before a management plan can be put into place. So in terms of this here, we don't really need this. It's not happened yet. You want the reader to assess Sarah first. Okay. Now, whose clinical manifestations? You mean her symptoms. So I would put that. Whose symptoms are presumptive. Now, presumptive is not the same as suggestive. Not quite the same word at all. So clinical manifestations, most people would usually put symptoms. Okay, whose symptoms are suggestive of epilepsy. Your cooperation. Well, what does that mean? You're not asking them to cooperate, because that implies a joint venture. What you want them to do is assess her and then tell you what they have found. Then you, possibly in cooperation with the specialist, would then develop a management plan. Okay? So, regarding her management plan, well, it should be assessment will be highly pivotal. Now, what does that actually mean? It's kind of like when people keep on using would be highly appreciated, blah, blah, blah. If you look at if you go to the official OET, now, Rebecca in her video on Monday stated that in April they slightly rewrote all the writing examples to take into account the new criteria. Okay? And if you look at those, look at the samples from E2, Swoosh, nobody uses this. In none of those examples has no one has been able to find me any examples in Swoosh or E2 where it says your blah 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 will be highly appreciated, etc. and highly pivotal. Well, what does that mean? Pivot or pivotal means to turn something in one way or another, but you don't want that. So a better way would have been to say, I am writing to request your assessment of Sarah, whose symptoms are suggestive of epilepsy. So that would be clear and to the point. Your cooperation regarding her management plan, highly pivotal. So I'm not quite sure what that means exactly. So Miss Sarah, again, if it's a kid, you wouldn't say if it was a 10-year-old boy, Master so-and-so. You just use a first name, well, his or her. Sarah was doing the first 6 weeks gestation, had neonatal jaundice, she's had asthma, right. Now, if you also saw Rebecca's videos on Monday on the Game today, I was watching the second one a while ago. She was talking about the new criteria, and we might as well refer to this. So the first one is purpose, right? So it should be immediately apparent. What do you want me to do? Why am I reading this shit? What is it that you want? Okay. And then content, conciseness, and clarity. Now, as she said, these are basically two sides of the same coin. What to include, what to exclude. Right? So no irrelevant information included. Okay. So you are wanting me to assess her for epilepsy. So why are you telling me about asthma? Why are you doing that? Is this relevant or pertinent? Now, obviously, I'm not a doctor, but I would have thought that epilepsy and asthma were two slightly, if not completely different conditions. Therefore, regarding the criteria, that would seem to be irrelevant information. So it would seem. Okay. So, let's take a look. Today, accompanied by her mother. Okay. Right. Miss Sarah, well, she didn't present, and her mother didn't accompany her. She's 10. her mother brought her, which is not the same thing at all, is it? Now, you know, as doctors, it's usually, if it's a kid, a parent, usually a mother, brings the kid, and they do all the talking. Now, you might ask the child a couple of questions, but in general, the adult comes in, hello doctor, it's my daughter Sarah here, she's had blah 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 blah, yeah? So she didn't present, because this implies that she presented herself and her mother came along. Now, if she were possibly a teenager, or, you know, late teens, maybe, early 20s, well, any age in fact, and her mother came to give her support, then yeah, you could say accompanied by. But in this case, that's probably not the situation. Anyway, so Sarah was brought to the surgery by her mother. She didn't present herself, and she wasn't accompanied by. Presented with left eye twitching of a few minutes duration. Now, how this reads is that she came in and her left eye was twitching in the surgery, but that's not the case. If you look at the case notes, in fact, and again, these case notes, I don't know if they're real, official, or not, but they seem kind of strange. So it says that 5 a.m. Now, her mother, now, in terms of English here, her mother noticed left eye twitching. So, was it her daughter's left eye twitching, then fell asleep? Who fell asleep? This is what you call a dangling participle. We don't know who fell asleep. Now, this is why I'm kind of doubtful about the veracity of these case notes, because it seems kind of strange. So, at 5 a.m., why would it be at 5 a.m.? Was she woken? Because 5 a.m., even if she's going to school, you don't get your kid up at 5 a.m., do you? You know? So, her mother noticed Sarah's left eye twitching, then fell asleep. Well, who actually fell asleep? Was it her? Was it Sarah? Did she awake? So these case notes, not to mince words, a little bit shit. It's not clear what is going on here. And at 8 a.m, eyes staring for seconds, presumably Sarah's, followed by generalized jerking movement for 3 to 5 minutes. Neck twisted to left. Her mother make her lying on her side. Make her lying? What? Her mother made her lie on her side. So the English here is a little bit shit. So again, this is why I'm not so clear about this case notes. And then she is anxious and wants to go to a different school. Yeah, so this seems kind of strange. So her mother says that, we presume she is talking about her daughter. She noticed her left eye was twitching, then she fell asleep, presumably the daughter. Then 8 a.m. she woke up again and her eyes were staring and she had some kind of jerking movements. Her neck was twisted. Her mother made her lie on the side, and then she is anxious and wants to go to a different school. Again, presumably so. What does that have to do with anything? And why is it here? Well, why is it here? Surely that should be in history. So that's kind of strange. Now, then it says parents stated similar attacks. So if the parents stated, that presumably means that both parents brought Sarah to see you on the 20th. Presumably the 20th later in the day, because attacks happened at 5 and 8. So her mother, it doesn't say that. It said her mother noticed that Sarah's eye was twitching. And then at 8 a.m, blah, blah, blah. And her parents were concerned because this had been ongoing for some weeks, apparently, for several weeks. And they were upset and concerned. And so they brought her in. So in terms of logic, it doesn't make sense. So was it her mother? Was it her parents? According to the case notes, it was her parents. Okay. So she didn't present. Her parents brought her in and they reported that in the night or in the early hours she had twitch, staring, blah, blah, blah. Now, an episode of facial twitching associated with head twisting, which lasted for 4 days approximately, was also reported. Well, again, let's go back to these hang on. Right. Back to these notes. Where does it say 4 days? Because the previous one, the 13th, that was a week ago. Unless there's something wrong with my eyesight here. So 5 a.m, 8 a.m, neck for several weeks. So I can't see anything here about 4 days. So I don't know where you've got that from. So okay, we'll go back. An episode of facial twitching with head twisting, which lasted well. Didn't that just happen? So if this is the 20th, this happened earlier that morning. So why or how do you get this for 4 days? Placing Sarah on her side was tried, to which her condition showed a poor recovery. How can your condition show a poor recovery? Again, let's have a look. Her mother made her lie on her side, and it doesn't say anything. So how, so that, it doesn't make sense. She'd been experiencing what exactly is a blanking attack? And on a daily basis. Well, again, let's have a look at these notes. Does it specifically say every day? It said similar attacks over a period of several weeks. Now that doesn't say every day. I'm sure if it had happened every single day, she would have been brought in within a day or two. Similar attacks over several weeks. So it doesn't say that. So again, unless there's something wrong with my eyesight, it doesn't say that. It doesn't say that. This is unclear who brought it in, etc. So there's quite a lot of stuff here which is about as clear as mud. So was now unfortunately central cause of epilepsy, and need to go with a full blood examination was requested. You mean you requested it might be involved with the take over the care of Miss Sarah? Well, you're not taking over her care, you're just giving her an assessment, which is not the same thing. So a lot of this is unclear. Again, if you are watching Rebecca's videos today on Monday, what did she say? And this is what I've been saying to you in most of my, well, virtually all of my videos for several months now, ever since we found out about the proposed changes. Why are you writing this? In other words, why is the reader reading this? And you have to establish a consistent timeline of events leading up to why you are making the request you are making. This is unclear. I'm not sure what you want me to do. The report, was it a mother, her parents? It doesn't say anything about 4 days on a daily basis. So there's quite a lot of stuff here which, and then of course we have this irrelevant stuff. So if you can't see why you only got 280, I think, this should give you some ideas. So if we take a look at the criteria. So purpose immediately apparent. Well, it's not, is it? Purpose of the document is apparent. I don't know. We could give it 2. I mean, I'd be more tempted to give it like 1, but so 2. Okay. Key information is included. Well, it's not. It isn't. It's not very clear. So there's some irrelevant information. The asthma stuff. Okay. Content from case notes is generally accurately represented. Well, it's not. So you can see you probably get 201 for the content, probably 3 because there's some inaccuracies. Irrelevant information, genre style. It's not bad, not too bad. I don't know. I'll probably give it 6 because I'm in a generous mood. Layout, organization, key information is highlighted. Well, it's not. Logical and clear. Well, no, it's not. Lapses of organization, highlighting of key information. Probably give it 4 for that. Language, inaccuracies. Does it interfere with the meaning? Well, yes, it does. It does. If it were minor and it didn't interfere, but reading that now, I'm having a lot of trouble in determining what went on, exactly who, how, where, and when. So, I hope this gives you some answers, but this is, I think 280 would be about right for this particular letter. Okay, I hope that helps.